Hello dudes and dudettes, it's Sugi and I'm back making DawnGate guides again. It's been a bit of a break, but I'm now trying to get back into it because, well, the game has improved quite much and it's just more enjoyable to play. And other than that, I feel there's a bit of a gap between video guides and the YouTube right now, so I'm kinda trying to fill that gap a bit. So I'm going to start off explaining what the abilities do. So the passive is called Buffeting Winds, and just to make it clear, Ashabel is a pure shaper, so there's no costs on her abilities. And whenever Ashabel deals damage to an enemy shaper, the ability slows them for 25% for 2 seconds, which decays, okay? And this is really like extreme chase potential or extreme kiting potential, and it's a really powerful passive. The first ability Q is called Gale, and this is the main ability. You can see the circle around Ashabel, that represents her range of the Gale. And you're able to send out these Gales, which have a 3-second cooldown, and you just spam them through like max range, and these are really good for poking, wave clearing, and they're just really good. And this is the ability you max out first. The second ability is called Stance Dance. Okay, this changes the stance a bit, so this will affect the abilities E and Q. There's a passive side to it where Gale's damage increases by 5% and increases by 5% per level. The active stance is that, well, the active is just the stance change. Okay, the Faris stance is that the Gale's range is increased by 20%, okay? This is pretty good, and this is the stance you will be using on the most cases, because if you're in 2v1 lane, for instance, you can just poke out from the max range and clear minions with that. There's no way you can push lane against Ashabel. That's his strongest point. She's extremely safe, and the Gale, if you just know how to use the Gale, the speed will be like invincible and you will never get touched if you play it right. The other one is Storm Stance, and this decreases the range by 20%, but it increases the damage by 25%, okay? And this is like a close 1v1 matchup, but usually these doesn't happen too often, so they're kind of like a situational, but this is better for dealing like max damage, and you should always switch to it when against melee character. The third ability is called Unleash, and the Faris stance is that Ashabel sends a wind blast and will deal damage based on like what is the max distance traveled. If you do it on close range, it will deal less damage, and if you do it on high range, it will deal more damage, okay? And the other stance is Storm Wall, so practically you use the fucking, I don't know, fans, and every enemy from 35 like close to you will go away, okay? This is disengage ability. This is like when somebody puts like a jumps on you, just switch stance and you just unleash and send them away. And this is a really important ability as well. I usually max out this third or second depending on the case. And Ashabel's last ability is called Wrath of Heaven, which is the ultimate, and this summons dragon on a target location, okay? And based on the like how close you send it, the more faster dragon will fall to the area. This is not like a huge difference on time, but it can be like crucial. It's great for stealing locusts. It's one of the there's like 2 global abilities in the game right now. This is one of those. And in DawnGate, global abilities are not that strong as they're on League of Legends maybe. This is really good for like making pressure on the other lane or on the jungle or Parasite. It can be really good for cleaning up kills, last hits, and it has a relatively short cooldown, so it's pretty good ultimate. And that's for the spells. Next up, I'm quickly going to talk about the loadout. I don't know if there's going to be changed in the future, so I won't go too in detail about that. And I know a lot of people have to grind actual loadouts before they can use it. I think Duelist is pretty good. It makes last hitting a bit easier on the lane. Warden is really good if you want to play more defensive. You get the 7% maximum health shield, which is pretty good against high-end bulk. Berserker is kind of like 5% less damage for 2 seconds every time you damage a enemy shaper. It's also pretty good. And also one of the other better offensive ones are the Ravager. And these ones are the best loadouts. And usually I tend to stack haste, ability cooldown reduction, or just power or mastery. That's the best one you can really choose for Ashabel. Next, I'm gonna talk about a bit of the items and what I do with them. So I start with power and 3 potions because that's the best matchup for the startup. I don't think health is really important because you just can poke out from max range and you won't get hit because the gale range is too high. So you don't get hurt if you play well. After this, I usually build might out of the power to get those stacks running, and if aggression if I have gold. And these are the mid-game items, and I of course build might after that to strife. And yeah, very late game items should be destruction, wisdom, justice, chaos, strife, and for last item is kind of like you have to choose yourself, divinity or rebirth, whatever situation needs. Destruction is really good because it gives you the defense penetration. Wisdom gives you the increased power, which is really good. Justice is really strong item. Because you give you mobility, movement speed, you can kite the whole day. Chaos is really good because of chain lightning, mastery, and haste. Strife is just overall a bit underrated item, but it's really strong. And divinity is kind of good because the overall damage increases quite much. And lastly, a bit of the lane matchups and all that. I think Ashabel is really good. She can go 2v1 lanes because she got awesome wave clear. She's good with like Desecrate or someone who can lock down the lane opponent and you can get up the kill. And as for like the roles, I usually go Gladiator because that's the best for farm. This is the champion, this is Shaper, sorry, which can farm so efficiently even if like in 2v1 lane because of the Gale. And Predator is also okay choice. I think that's kind of like setting up kills most, so pick up like Desecrator. And the last up is kind of like don't Tactician. There's better shapers for Tactician, so I won't choose that. And that kind of ends up my guide. Check out my other guides, planning to make more in the near future. Subscribe, like the video. See you later.